Hey guys, GHAZZY TV here with another Path of Exile video. We're going to do a little update video on my progression of League Start from 3.26, in which I am already playing Chaos Mage Skeletons. I actually was able to bypass the idea of playing Skelly Archers, which is the regular way of doing this, and then into a Fleshcrafter Mage Skeleton setup. However, my main concern was the availability and the price cost of this specific pair of gloves, which is converting minions' fire damage into chaos damage. There are ways to play around with this to make this function. And what we've done is exactly that. And I'm going to walk you guys through my entire process of this from start to finish, starting with the leveling guide, which will be linked in the descriptions below. I was leveling with Absolution. There's a full written guide in detail. There's also PoB in there for those of you that are experienced PoE players that don't need a written guide. You can just follow the PoB. There's levelings, trees, and everything, and some information. There's skill sets for every act as well as there's basically no items because you're just doing this through the campaign. Essentially, Absolution will carry you through the entire story, and you can also do endgame mapping with Absolution. So you can choose to stay with Absolution until you have the necessary items to play Skelly Archers or Skelly Mages, whichever you want to play, or you switch to Skelly Archers and then into Mages. That is the regular way of playing this. However, it is easier and faster to get a hold of these pair of gloves and switch into Chaos Skelly Mages, which is actually the better version of Skelly Mages when it comes to medium budgets. High budget, you always go for the Doriani Lightning version either way. So I'm going to walk you guys through the process of what I think you should do to get this working. And I'd say just stay Absolution, but if you want to go to Skeleton Archers, the way to do so is requiring a mandatory Ancient Skull helmet. This is a very cheap helmet. You can buy this very cheaply. And you also will need one of these bad boys, which is a medium cluster jewel with Blessed Rebirth. However, if you search on trade, I'm going to try to show you this if it even exists. We search for a medium cluster, and then you click on this, you click on the magnifying glass, and then change this to minion life. And you prefer not to have more than 5 passes, but it doesn't really matter. You'll see that these cost almost nothing, but you can't buy those. You want one with Blessed Rebirth, and this should be, you get overpriced. Do not buy these. It's not worth it. Instead, you'll search for this, but you change the item level to 68 or higher, and now you can buy them for 2 chaos, 1 chaos. I think I bought mine for 4 chaos a couple of hours ago. And then you just use alterations to craft till you hit Blessed Rebirth, which costs like about 20 alterations or so. You'll be fine. And then whatever you get, just stay with that. You're just looking for Blessed Rebirth. You'll pay way less than 30 chaos for it. That is a mandatory approach for both the Skelly Archers and Skelly Mages. So you're going to want to have that either way. And for Skelly Archers, you'll simply want to have Ancient Skull as a mandatory item, or you just stay with Absolution and switch over to the Chaos Skeletal Mages, which is what I did. Chaos Skeletal Mages have some wonky custom modifiers in the PoB, which is linked in the written guide as well, which is seen in the descriptions below. I actually am running this with a Tabula, because a Tabula is being so dirt cheap right now, but 10C was cheaper than a corrupted 6-link with the right colors. However, the mandatory item is these gloves, as well as that cluster jewel. You don't need the small one, but you can do the same process there. Item level 68, small cluster with armor to get Enduring Composure. But you're going to want to have that Blessed Rebirth medium cluster, which is what I'm running as well. However, there are 2 other jewels that is mandatory. I'm going to show you in-game. First one is in this spot here. You're going to want the combat focus Crimson Jewel in this location. This prevents your prismatic jewels or gems, in this case your Skelly Mages, to choose cold. So now you only get fire and lightning. You're also going to want to have a combat focus Viridian Jewel, which makes your prismatic jewels not be able to choose lightning. And the other one is for cold, which makes you only have fire minions, which means that with these gloves, your minions will only do fire damage, which means they only do chaos damage. Now, obviously, you'll need the gem, Skeletal Mages. You'll farm this in the Merciless Lab. That's the easiest way to get these. You can also farm the Chaos Golem of Maelstrom in there, which is very effective as it increases effective Withered, and it applies Wither for you. When you have quality on it, it will be even better. So that's a very effective thing to get in from the Merc Lab as well, unless you just want to buy it. Not sure how much they're going for right now, but you can easily farm this yourself. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you don't get the right one, you can always choose to get experience gems or quality. It's very effective. So, these jewels are also similar to the Blessed Rebirth, extremely overpriced. The Viridian is going for 40 chaos right now. I can show you the The other one, which is the crimson one that you want, don't buy the cobalt one. I saw these going for 25, 30 chaos. They're actually being sold, it seems, which is insane because they're super overpriced. So the way to get these is to essentially vendor a non-corrupted 20% quality prismatic tag jewel, or gem rather, together with certain rings. So in here you'll see that for the Viridian that you want, you'll vendor a non-corrupted 20% quality prismatic tag gem together with a ruby ring and a sapphire ring of any rarity. And that's how you get the Viridian one. And the crimson one, you do the same thing, but with a ruby ring and a topaz ring. So the way to get these, in my opinion, the easiest way is literally just check Lily Roth, go to purchase, search for prismatic, and you'll see that Elemental Hit is over here. You'll see that Wild Strike is over here. And there's one support gem called Prismatic Burst. So then you can go to trade and just search for, say, Elemental Hit. And you can search for this with, say, 15% quality and not be corrupted. And searching for this shows you that you can buy... Wait, that was level. My bad. Level quality, I mean. Like this, you can buy the... Well, it's expensive now. I bought mine for like 4 or 5 chaos. And you can then search instead for Elemental Hit. You can go for Wild Strike. And again, you can stay with the Absolution till you get this. Wild Strike not available, and the other one was Prismatic Burst. See if that's available. None available right now. Maybe people have seen this since I've been showing this on stream. Obviously, these will be more and more available as time goes by, and you can stay with Absolution until you have access to these things instead of buying those overpriced jewels. Most importantly, you are going to need these gloves, and I would not recommend going into Chaos Mages unless you have a 6-link. So do make sure you have the gloves, a 6-link like a Tabula or a Corrupted 6-link, doesn't really matter, as well as those combat focused jewels. And this is cheaper to go into than the original medium-bodied Skelly Mages. So this is something I would strongly recommend for this league specifically. To search for this modifier, it's a little wonky on the trade search right now. You'll have to search for the exact modifier name. Minions, convert, hashtag, percent, up fire damage to chaos damage. You'll find it right here. If I search for this like this, min convert fire to chaos, okay, it actually shows up now. It didn't earlier today, so they might have updated it. You search for that mod, click enter, and bam, you'll see these gloves going for about 15 to 20 chaos. So that is very cheap to go into a medium body version of the build. And that's what I've been doing. I don't even have a level of minions on my weapon. I did get a little bit better weapon than I had before. But other than that, I have no levels here. I have +1 level on my chest. I'm currently cruising in maps. It's very chill. The only thing that's negative with a build like this when you first transition to it is lack of physical damage mitigation. This is why when it comes to the mercenaries, I would recommend running one of those that gives you determination until you've done the Uber Lab, because that gives you this node, which gives you leech, but also physical damage mitigation. Once you pick this up, you have quite a few options. I was running a Cruel Mistress, which is giving you an Envy Aura. But lately, I'm actually running one of these guys, Blade Casters, to get aspect of the Spider, which I actually would prefer to run as it felt like it did much more impact than the low-level Envy that the previous guy was giving me, which I think I have still around here. Cruel Mistress. This is the guy I was running earlier for an Envy Aura, but I think that the aspect Spider is just significantly better. Also better gear options for him. And that's basically it when it comes to the Skeletal Chaos Mages. Later on, the first thing you want to buy is this big turtle. It's called a Perfect Guardian Turtle. That'll be your next big purchase. Let me see how much they're going for. They were bouncing in prices. I bought mine for 20C. They're going for 45. You know, in the next couple of hours, they should be going down in price as well, as more and more people will find these. So it's again early league start. We're in the first handful of hours of the league start, so prices are a bit all over the place right now. However, when you're leveling with the Absolution, or when you're playing Absolution before you can afford these things, I would recommend running something like a War Priest. The War Priests have Sanctified Strike, giving you a better approach for damaging on the enemies. You have Smite for more lightning damage. You have a Holy Relic for healing. He summons extra minions through the Spectres. There are some other modifiers you can get. You can get some auras like Haste or Cemetery. So it's quite a few options. There's another guy called Fallen Revenant, I think, which was super comfortable to level with. I believe that's the guy that cast the Absolution skill. That was super effective when it comes to leveling through the campaign. So I'd say a War Priest or a Revenant is super solid. And they're both strength/intelligence based mercenaries when you're leveling, or whilst you're still playing the Absolution version before you transition into playing your mage skeletons. in this version. But that's what I've been doing. I've been having a blast so far. The mercenaries are absolutely cracked. There's some ridiculous items that I've been picking up that is straight up from the actual mercenaries. Most of my gear actually is from the mercenaries. It's kind of insane. But that's what I've been doing, and that's my recommendation for the current state of 3.26. So again, we stay Absolution till you have the currency or the necessary items to switch to Mage Skeletons. Make sure you have a 6-link before you go Mages. Make sure you have the gloves. Make sure you have the combat focus jewels and that Blessed Rebirth medium cluster before you change, or you're not going to have a good time. However, if your plan is to go Mage Skeletons, I would recommend going into Merc Lab and farming this gem so you can level it up in the background. I did not do that, so it took me quite a few maps to bring it up from a level 1 gem to bring it up to a reasonable level so I could keep progressing. So do yourself a favor, run Merc Lab, get your gem and level it up in the background. I actually have a spare one leveling up right now, so that is a big recommendation for you. But again, I'll leave the links in the description down below for both the leveling builds as well as the endgame Mage Skeleton version. Obviously, we're going to go for Doriani high budget, but that's going to cost a stupid amount of currency. So before that, I would strongly recommend the Chaos version that I'm running. I'm only like I'm not even close to what I have in that POB in that guide. And we're just trashing everything right now. And as soon as you get access to that Guardian Turtle I just picked up, I have by determination. I'm running this mercenary with the aspect of the spider, and it's really comfortable. My AG currently has a Leer Cast and Dying Breath, and I think it's a Belly of the Beast and some random gloves, some random boots on him. I don't think he was wearing boots even, actually. Come to tell you the truth. No, he's a legless Bob right there. Holy shit. No boots on him. And the way I sorted that early was that I run Minion Life together with Meat Shield for the Race Spectre and Animate Guard to keep them alive even though they're lower level gems. So again, Meat Shield and Minion Life helps a lot in the transition stage. Later on, your gear will be so good that and the levels that they will have, they're not going to have a problem surviving even in tier 17 maps. I've played this myself on stream before the launch to showcase this. So they will survive with fewer links. But in the early transition stage, I would recommend Meat Shield and Minion Life on them to help them give that little edge on surviving, especially versus the mercenaries, because they're pretty cracked in damage, at least some of them. But that is my recommendation and what I've been doing with my progression. I'll obviously upload another video once I'm getting better geared and getting further into the progression of this character. But so far, 3.26 has been a blast. We broke some pretty crazy record on the stream launch for this. We hit a level 42 hype train, hence the timer here. I had to stream for a total of 46 hours. So at some point later in this stream, I'll be sleeping on stream because I can't survive doing it in one sitting. And yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. So we broke a hype train at level 42, which I think is the highest hype train of any PoE streamer in the Directorate. It's pretty crazy. Anyways, check it out. If you like this video, you like the build, hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Leave a comment down below what you think of the build, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Till then, stay safe. Keep rocking.